Today we're going to be learning about something that is really important to drawing a face, and that is proportion. And it doesn't matter if you intend on pursuing art as a career, or if you're taking this class just for fun, or if it's just a requirement that you're trying to fulfill. These are good skills that you should have. So let's talk about this. If you take the top of the head to the chin, you can see that's outlined with red, and you divide it in half. So top of the head to chin, divide it in half. That's where the eyes fall. So you're dividing it in half vertically, and you can see that white line is the eye line, meaning it's where the eyes will be placed. So that is the first and probably most crucial proportion rule that you need to memorize. And we're going to make a sheet today that shows you all these rules, but I do want you to memorize them. It becomes easier and easier, especially after you have them already kind of ingrained. Next is this rule where you take the hairline to the chin, and you're going to have to estimate where the hairline is. So hairline to chin, and you divide that into thirds. So you can see there's the top third, the second third, 2/3, and then there's a bottom third there. So that first line, that first white line, the top third, that's the eyebrow line. The middle third, the 2/3, is the nose line. Now let's try it with a different model. So these rules are generic, meaning that they apply to most people. So there's that red line indicating the top of the head. We're going to go from the top of the head to the chin and divide that space in half. And there's the white line, which is the eye line where the eyes fall. And next we're going to find the hairline. So we'll put a line where we think the hairline is going to be. So in this case, you can just see where her hairline starts. That's in blue. And then we need a line that goes to her chin. So from the hairline to the chin, only we're dividing into thirds. So the top third is where the eyebrow line is. That middle third is where her nose will be, and the bottom third is just her chin. All right, let's try it on one more person. I'm trying to repeat this so you guys can start to memorize these proportion rules. So again, taking the top of the head, kind of making, imagining her without hair because her hair goes a little bit above her scalp. Top of the head to the chin, divide it in half. That's where the eyes are going to be. There's the halfway marks. And then we're going to go from her hairline to the chin, which is in that kind of blue-green color, and divide that into thirds. And that top third is about where the eyebrow, yep. And then the bottom third, or that middle third, which is the nose. Next, we're going to look at how to get the mouth in place, because we didn't talk about that. We just talked about top of the head to the chin for the eyes. We talked about the thirds to get the eyebrow and the nose. So here we are. We're looking at a different picture, and you take the nose, which we already know how to get using that third, breaking it down into thirds, to the chin. So you take the nose to the chin, and you divide that space into thirds. So a third of that space, and you're breaking it down into 3 sections. So that top third line is really the only line that you need to absolutely have, because that is where you find where the 2 lips meet, where the bottom lip touches the top lip. And most people subscribe to these rules. These are rules that every portrait artist knows, and I want you to have these rules memorized too, so you can get some successful proportion accurate drawings. We're going to begin doing this too. So you're going to start on a blank sheet of paper. Now you can use a white sheet of paper that you were given at the start of the year, or a blank piece of printer paper would work too. But you're going to head it with the word proportions. It's kind of a long word, but I want you to put that at the top. Okay, so we're going to draw 3 heads. The first head is from the front, and you can see They're pretty small. It's about the size of like your pointer finger for the height of the head there. And we're going for that egg shape. And this is just for practice, and it's just to show proportions, so I wouldn't stress out if it's not looking perfect. You can see mine looks a little bit sketchy. That's okay. So I am putting a neck on this person. We're drawing these heads as an outline at first. So here's the second head, and the second head is going to be from the side or profile. And I start out when I'm drawing a head from the side by drawing that kind of cranium. That's where the brain is kept. And you want to think of it kind of as a skull at first, and then we're going to flesh it out. So I'm drawing like kind of where the brain would be, and then a line straight down, and then I get in the jaw, around out the back of the head, and then I get in the neck there. Just be careful on the neck that you don't go too thick or too skinny. And it looks a little bit weird, but we're going to put features and some hair on these people so it won't look so strange after a while. The last one we'll do is from the 3/4. Again, each one of these heads is about the same height as your index finger, your pointer finger. And 3/4 means that the head is partially turned. It means you're seeing more of one side of the face than the other. And again, you do want to think of the head as kind of an egg shape. And we can adjust things as we go, but those are the basic head shapes that we're going to play with, and then we're going to put the features in. Let's label these. So front, profile, 3/4. I've zoomed in to that front image. That's the first one that we drew. And I'm going to be dividing that head in half. So from the top of the head to the chin, divide it exactly in half. And that is the eye line. So remember, the next step is to find where the hairline is. So I'm just going to imagine where that hairline is going to be. It's a rough guess. It's hard to get it exactly right, but I'm going to guess that's where it starts, where I put that little tick mark. So now I'm going to go, like you saw earlier on in the video, from the hairline to the chin, and I'm going to divide that in 2/3. There we go, I drew it back in. And remember, when you're dividing it into thirds, that's how you get the eyebrows and the nose. And you can see I'm making that bracket from the hairline down to the chin, and then I'll be dividing it into 3 sections to get the thirds. And you can see I'm actually writing that word hairline just so you know that I would write it down too, so that you can remember, oh yeah, from the hairline to the chin, divide it into 3 sections. The eyebrows are going to be on that first section. The nose is going to fall on that middle or second section. Same rules apply on this second head. So we're going to draw a line from the top of the head to the chin, making a little kind of bracket. Divide that in half. And that'll give us our eye line. I know this seems repetitive, but the more you do this, the more you'll start to memorize it, and then you won't have to think about it so much. This has really helped me on my portraits to make sure that they're accurate. And you've already found out with drawing portraits, it's really easy to get the portrait a little bit off if you have a proportion that's out of alignment, like the nose is too long or the eyes are too close together. These proportion rules will really help you with that. So I'm doing the thirds on the back side of the head, but you can see I'm taking a line from the hairline to the bottom of the chin, and I'm going to divide that space into 3s. I'm just going to extend the line all the way across the face. That was just to make room for it, but you can put it in front if you have enough room. And remember, the eyebrow is going to fall on that first line there, and the nose line will fall on the second. And it is good to label at this stage. Okay, so we are going to do the same thing to the last one. This one is a little bit trickier because the eye line, it's in the same place, but you have to realize if we were to draw the eyes in there, that one eye would be bigger, the eye that's closest to you, and the other eye would be a little bit smaller because it is farther away from you. It has to do with perspective. But the eyes are still halfway in the head, from the top of the head to the chin. And then remember, you're drawing in a hairline where you think the hairline would start. And going from the hairline to the chin, dividing that into thirds. And I just wrote hairline there. Again, I think it's good to have labels on all these for now. And this is going to be like your cheat sheet. This is going to be your go-to tool that I would use to check all your portraits on, because we are going to be doing quite a few portraits. So there's those 3 thirds. Eyebrow goes on that first line. Nose goes on the second. Okay, so we figured out the placement for the eyes, the eyebrows, and nose. What we're missing is the placement for the mouth and the ears as well. So remember, from the nose, it's also a rule of thirds. So it's making a little mark at the nose line, drawing a line down to the chin, and then dividing that space into 3 sections, 3 equal sections. Unfortunately, it's going a little bit off camera, but you can see there's my 3 sections. And it's really that top section that I absolutely have to have, because that's going to tell me where those 2 lips meet. And I'm writing that rule down, and I'd like you to write that down too. So a third and a third and a third, although it's really the first one that you absolutely have to have. And then we're going to draw a line across. There we go. And that's the line where the 2 lips meet, where the top lip meets the bottom lip. Okay, so we're going to do this for the rest of the faces, so the other 2 faces. So taking that nose line, and I'm going from the nose line down to the bottom of the chin, and I'm dividing it into thirds. And I'm outlining it with pen so you guys can see it clearly. So there it is, that bracket from the nose line to the bottom of the chin, and I have to divide that space into thirds. And you can see I'm not measuring that, I'm just eyeballing that. And there's those 3 sections. And that's about where the mouth will go. Now, if we were to place ears on this head, we would go from the eyebrow line to the nose line. So I'm just going to show you that too while we're here. So there's the eyebrow line. I'm extending that eyebrow line out, and I'm extending that nose line. I'm just going to draw a dashed line so you don't get too confused. And that's the height of the ears. They go between the eyebrows and the nose. And I bet you conform to that too, because most people do. And that's not telling you the placement, it's just telling you the height of the ear. So something like that. In the early stages, my ears all look like potato chips. Going back to that front portrait to get the ears on there, there's our eyebrow line and our nose line. So making those look more like eyebrows, kind of. Eyebrow to the nose. Ears tend to be longer than most people think they are. But you always have to pay attention to the individual. So ears from the side tend to look more skinny than you would think. I oftentimes try and do elf ears if I'm doing it from the front.